us all. And all right, I'm going to hit live.
We are live.
We are live today. Elizabeth, how excited are you?
I'm super stoked. As somebody that I look up to that often.
Okay, so this amazing individual needs no introduction, but let's just go for it. Elizabeth Riley and I are sitting down today to have a discussion with Glenn Sanford, founder of Exp Realty, CEO of Exp World Holdings. Hi, Glenn.
Hey, Renee. Hey, Elizabeth.
How are you?
Good. Hey, you guys are at home. Of course, I guess, has Texas actually done the order yet? I know Florida's done the order, right?
We haven't yet. We have not in Florida, not yet.
Okay, well.
So in Austin, we're supposed to be getting it today. They're just picking different areas, but today we're supposed to get it. We're all just kind of here waiting and preparing for that.
Okay, well, we got the order to shelter at home yesterday, and there's no difference for me. I've been working from home for 10 plus years. It's like, okay, that's not that big a deal.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because every time we've ever attended any class or seen any of your lives, anything you do, that's the same backdrop.
It is, yeah. If I'm talking with Tom Hopkins, if I'm doing, I just did one yesterday. I pulled out my where is it? My Donkey Kong. I put it on the screen. So a couple days ago. So yeah, this is my home office. It's actually over my garage in my casita, and so I've worked here literally, well, not this particular place, but here since 2016, since we got the place here up in Washington. Once we got off the road in the motor coach, that would have been interesting trying to do shelter at home.
Yeah. Well,
we went back and pulled
from home for a long time too. The only challenge I'm having is I'll have 4 little people home with me now too, and so I'm like, okay, where I could be a lot more productive. It's a little bit challenging, but we're surviving. We're making it through.
There you go. Good stuff.
I'm starting a new campaign, and that's Hug a Teacher. Teachers are angels on earth, and we all know that. But I've been doing a couple live videos and messages to families in our children's school, and teachers saying, if you have a teacher in your home or a staff member of any school, please right now hug them for us.
Yeah.
Because the reality is now it's here at home.
Right. There you go. And which is, that's the one thing I think is great for families, especially if you're still connected, is you're getting some social connection. And there's a lot of folks right now that are at home by themselves. They don't really have a way to sort of create that social connection. And then of course, everybody's doing social distancing. So, have you noticed, like in the last week, I've noticed that, people are like doing like wide berths, like when
Yes.
you're walking down the street.
Right.
And and I was looking at, there's a lot of people who have, pets, dogs, and those types of things. So a week ago, where people might stop and pet the dogs, they're like walking up to the dog, and then they're remembering, oh my God,
Right.
I can't actually walk up to this dog and actually pet it and sort of interact.
My children are going down to the playground in our community, and it's a new normal now that as they walk out the door, we say the check-in time. Okay, you'll check in 45 minutes. And then they've been accustomed to me yelling out 6 feet, 6 feet. And so now they yell it out to me. Mom, we know 6 feet.
6 feet. Yep. There you go.
Mine, as I was telling you guys, mine fired me yesterday from homeschool teaching. So I'm like, that is not my gift. And so we're all trying to figure that out. My kids will probably be the ones all behind when we go back, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the high D on the disc profile, if you're a high D, your kids will probably fire you. So
yeah.
You're so used to getting things done and making sure that they get things done. Yeah, it's like, I would not make a good teacher right now.
Guilty as charged.
We'll join together in that commonality. Okay, Glenn, so if we could we have you share about the birth of Exp Realty? Take us back to when you created EXP. What was that like? What were you experiencing, and what was the reason?
Yeah, so I just did an EXP Explained yesterday, and on Facebook you'll see it sort of attached to my personal profile, and I think it's actually on the Exp Realty page. But You know, 2009, we launched the Exp Realty, and you know, I think both of you may have been in the business back in 2008, and I was running. I'd run a large team at Keller Williams. I started my own team-based brokerage in 2007. Had a great 2007. Did about 78 million or 73 or 78 million in production in 2007. We were on track to do about 100 million in 2008. And then the second half of 2008 kicked in. I remember July, it started slowing down. August, it started to really slow down. And then there was the announcement of like Lehman Brothers and all the other stuff. And then it literally came to a screeching halt. Very much like what we've been seeing here for the last week or so, that, you know, and for totally different reasons. People couldn't get mortgages back then. People who wanted to buy couldn't buy because the mortgage market had totally frozen up. And so we went from and of course we had some foreclosures and we had some of that going on, but because the mortgage meltdown, it literally came to this abrupt halt. And by October, we were doing 10% of the sales volume that we had been doing in April. So it was, so talk about a 90% reduction. And we're kind of going into that exact same mode where we're potentially going to see, you know, I don't know what the percentage will be, but we could see, you know, a 90% reduction for a month or so of sales volume. So that's when we sort of circled the wagon. I got rid of my 3 offices, went down to a skeleton crew on a third. We had to have an office with a door in Washington State, so we kept one because that was a requirement by the Real Estate Commission. And in 2009, we said, you know, how do we build a real estate brokerage that, you know, can be successful in good times and bad times, and not knowing, and I've used this term, it's a technical term, but the housing market sucked, and so we didn't know how long it was going to suck. And if the Federal Reserve had not have stepped in, had not had done the quantitative easing, hadn't have bought mortgage-backed securities out the wazoo, hadn't backstopped the economy, you know, everything would have come to a super screeching halt, and you know, we would have went into effectively the second Great Depression. In the United States and certainly around the world, that would have sort of trickled out. Same thing's happening right now. We're going through the exact same thing. The Federal Reserve stepped up in a big way. You know, the Congress and the Senate are in the process of passing some stimulus to keep the economy moving, and real estate has come to a virtual standstill. And we sort of said, hey, we don't want to be stuck in the same situation back then that we, you know, in the future. So what can we do to build something that's recession proof? So that was really what was going through our mind. And then the other piece that was going through our mind was the fact that we had finally got to the point, and I use my phone as just a device. We finally got to the point. The iPhone had just come out in like 2007, 2008. You know, Facebook had just opened itself up. High-speed internet now was in everybody's home through cable internet, and so we were at a point where the ability to duplicate or the services of a real estate brokerage in an online way was becoming real. Now, we were duct tape and baling wire the thing together, but it was the way that we ultimately needed to start the business, because we were committed to building something that was modern and was the way business would be going at some point in the future. And instead of waiting for everybody to do it first, we said, why don't we just go ahead and go for it? Because eventually this is the way we're going to do business.
Whew.
It's pretty amazing, because I feel like you must have had a crystal ball back then. And I'm so, it's hindsight's 2020, and you look back at what you were creating, and you're such a visionary. And when you and I met, I mean, Glenn, it's been almost 5.5 years now, which is unbelievable. When you and I first sat down and you kind of told me, and I didn't really get it. I really did not see where you were seeing. And I mean, I tell people all the time, people join people. loved what you had to say. I loved your energy. I loved everything about you and Jason and our leadership, but I really didn't understand. I nodded a lot, right? I was
Right.
like, oh,
Mhm.
that's awesome. Yeah. Because I didn't want you to be
Go,
like, who is
go, Glenn.
right. I nodded a lot and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm all in. And I had no idea. And I made it through 2008. You know, Renee and I both have been in the business a long time too. I've been licensed 15 years, and that was one thing nobody saw. And then for you to be able to put that all together and create EXP for this exact situation that we're all experiencing now, it's pretty unbelievable. And so I think you have a crystal ball hidden back there somewhere.
Well, I think I was just being realistic about from the broker owner role, because I think agents can be way more agile than the broker owner. Like an agent can, in fact, you know, they can put their license on ice if the market goes soft, and if there's no sales, you can just hang your license up for a couple months. So you can reduce your expenses and your overhead in a hurry. But the broker owner, the one that has the bricks and mortar in place, they're the ones that ultimately are the ones that are going to have a really hard time pivoting. And I didn't want to be caught a second time. What's the phrase? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I didn't want to be fooled a second time, and I've been sort of I've just paid attention since in 1987. I turned 21. October 15th, and that's the month. October of 1987 was when we had the stock market crash, and I actually became a stockbroker in October of '87.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I saw this crash that took place in '87. I saw the .com collapse approximately 10 years later in 1990. I was going to, well, actually in 1980, I had seen the oil market crash. My dad was in oil and gas in Oklahoma and in North Texas and parts of Louisiana. And so I saw that in 1980. So I saw these 10-year cycles. So 80, 87, 2000, 2008. So I recognize that there's this 10-year cycle. We don't know what the issue is going to be, but there's always these cycles. So the S&Ls were back in 1980. So we've got these 10-year cycles, and something always triggers it. I think what ends up happening is the economy starts running so efficiently that it doesn't take a huge hiccup to create some major challenges, because we're running as if nothing can go wrong. Like in the beginning, late January, early February, who thought anything could go wrong with this economy?
Right.
Yeah. So who would have worried about borrowing a little extra money on the credit card to go take a trip, or to buy more stuff for their factory, or to plan for whatever? And I think that was taking place last year. 2019 was a good year for the stock market. It wasn't phenomenal, but it took off like crazy in December, January, and February. I know I was playing a few stocks myself, and then all of a sudden all my stop losses kept on getting hit, and I couldn't own a stock to save my life. So I've got this basically, if stock goes down about 3 to 5%, 7% at maximum from the point where I buy it, I'm just out of that stock, because I'd rather have my money than to totally lose it. And so by the third week in February, I was like all cash, and I couldn't find anything that I could even buy. And of course, I could see the coronavirus doing its thing. And even then, I was going, this is going to be a big deal, but I didn't realize it was going to be this big a deal.
Well, at the end of January, February, we were all in New York celebrating being on NASDAQ again, right? I mean, this was not anywhere near what we were thinking about. So yeah, you're right. It just in a blink of an eye.
Oh yeah, I went to my very first ever Super Bowl right after NASDAQ. So I was down in Miami, and we were in the nosebleed seats, but it was a lot of fun. But and then I went from there to Honolulu, Hawaii, did some lunch and learns I did a lunch and learn there with Chris and a number of folks there, and then went off to Australia. And over there, their big challenges were the fires, and then actually the then the rainstorms, they had the biggest rainstorm. Nobody was talking about coronavirus, when we first got to Australia on February 5th, February 6th. And probably by about mid-February, people were starting to talk about it, but it was not a big deal. And then when we got back to Sydney, Australia, what was it, about 3 weeks ago, we're watching all the cruise ships come in. We're like going, man, those are like coronavirus factories just coming in one after another.
One
And
after
we're like
another.
we're like going, we need to start getting home.
Get home,
Yeah.
get home. So you mentioned NASDAQ, Elizabeth, and yes, we were so fortunate to be in New York for the closing bell ceremony at NASDAQ for a second year, which was unbelievable. Pinch me, can't believe that we find ourselves in that opportunity. Glenn, can we talk about, obviously we're a publicly traded company on NASDAQ, Exp Realty Holdings. How is Exp Realty poised as we are navigating this phase, and certainly as we look at the next 12 to 24 months? How is Exp Realty poised throughout these phases?
Well, I mean, the reality is that we are the best positioned real estate brokerage, in my opinion, by a significant margin than pretty much anybody out there. There's a couple other companies that refer to themselves as cloud-based and that they're technology driven, but they're not built, I don't think, from the ground up the way we are. And what I mean by that is that almost all of them have a corporate office, a physical space that they're supposed to go to actually run the office. So I know one, they've got their corporate offices in New York City. Well, guess what? You can't go to the office. You're totally locked out. And I'm sure you can figure out other ways to collaborate with your team, but you're going to have to figure out new ways on the fly to do it. And so all these companies, effectively are going to have to come up with new ways on the fly. And then they have to kind of make the secondary decision, which is, once this is done, what's the new normal? And for us, we're still haven't missed a beat. Now, that's not saying that we're not, obviously having to cut back on some salaries. We cut back on some contract employees, some temporary workers, and some other folks. And we might have to, make some pretty good cuts in the short run, just because if there's no work, there's no reason to keep people, paid. But we're also positioned to rapidly scale back up as soon as things come back. So we've got kind of a nice place to be. Obviously, we don't want to let people go, but we also need to run the business appropriately and help where we can, and those types of things. But we're super well positioned, super well poised for wherever the market goes. So even if we, I don't know what a worst case scenario could be. You read stuff by Rob Hahn and you can get scares the bejesus out of you. And then you read other folks and it's like, it's not going to be that big a deal. I think China's already bounced back. Mike Delaprint mentioned that their market the real estate market has bounced back quite a bit since they've unlocked the different provinces. So they're actually already seeing sales coming back to a more normal level. So different people have different beliefs as to where the market might go, but we can adjust because all of our costs in EXP are almost across the board variable based expenses. We have no fixed expenses that we have to pay no matter what. There's some technology expenses, but they're fairly modest compared to big bricks and mortar expenses.
Elizabeth, you mentioned people join people, and obviously that's something that you and I share very near and dear to our heart. The people here I've fallen in love with, and can't even believe that I'm so blessed to have this type of a network. If I look at the culture to Jeff and I is so important as we're building our team in Orlando. When I think about the brokerages who are now converting on the fly to create this remote accessibility, they will, and I see it happening. I think it's interesting at what a running head start we have at the culture that is not only existent, but nurtured, poured into, loved on, and continually to progress with now 28,000 agents, right? So the culture it's almost a tangible thing in our brokerage.
I would definitely think it's tangible. I feel more connected at this company, and I've been at EXP. It'll be 5 years in May, which is insane because it is just, it just seems like it was yesterday. And I was in another brokerage 10 years prior to that. Nothing wrong with that brokerage, but it was just a very different model. I feel more connected, and that we have a stronger culture across the nation, and now Canada and UK and Australia, than I ever had in my little office here in Austin, Texas, which is, people say it can't be done, but the way we collaborate and we connect, I mean, we've had masterminds on our beach the last couple of days. I feel like it's businesses, yeah, it's been fun. Business as usual. And we're interacting and collaborating with people from Virginia. And I mean, I got on the phone with Andrew from UK, and these are people, my world has been broadened because of this company, and that culture is incredibly valuable and so strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You know, our team, our executive team is totally geographically dispersed. So, you know, I'm up in Washington State, Jason's in Boston, Stacy Onens in Arizona, Dave Knords in Philadelphia, Jeff Whiteside's in New York, upstate, and we've got, you know, 600-700 folks that are all together. And yet it doesn't feel like there's any distance between any of us. We're currently shifting a number of folks over from the EXP Realty side to actually move them over to Virbela. We're able to sort of quickly move people over because we all have relationships. We know everybody. It's one. I've heard the phrase "one team, one dream."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's really pretty amazing to sort of be seeing all this stuff take place and how there is very little distance between anybody in the company.
You mentioned Virbela, Glenn, so let's talk about Virbela. How is Virbela shifting, especially over the last couple of weeks? I must imagine it's a ton of growth and so much opportunity there for other industries to be able to utilize the platforms we've been utilizing at EXP Realty.
It is, yeah. In fact, you know, and anybody watching, you can go onto Virbela.com. You can download it. You can actually go, you know, bring your team in there. You can use the open campus, find a private space on the open campus, work with your team as if they're in the same space, and that's free. But we've got so many people right now signing up for team suites, which basically is their own private suite inside of Virbela. We've got a number of people setting up their private campuses. We just did a deal about a week ago with a company called Event Farm, which is one of the larger event companies in the U.S. To actually help host with amazing events. Now they've been obviously leaving all the physical events because they've all been canceled, and they've been moving them into the Virbela campus of their own called the Echo, and it's really cool just to see everything come together. I've been working with them since Monday last week, almost exclusively. So I just moved my focus from the realty side over to the Virbela side to help on you know, on sales, funnel pipelines. We're adding a bot right now to the front page of Virbela to really answer a lot of the quick questions that people might have and get people sort of pointed in the right direction so they can get kind of signed up. But for us, I think even, I don't know if later on this week, there's a large company that this might be screaming to at the moment, where I think their HR group is actually going to talk to me and actually do something live on that same platform. Won't say the name, but we're going to talk specifically about Virbela and how it supports remote teams, organizations, schools. We have schools that are getting classrooms and spaces for doing distance education, so I think that the world is very, very, very bright at Virbela.
I love that. One of the things I love most about being an EXP Realty agent and a team leader is the tools and resources that I am then able to cascade out to help better serve agents together with the brokerage. A team leader and a brokerage come together and provide great service to the agents. Agents being top of mind right now, Glenn, what can agents do today to weather this temporary shift or storm and to poise themselves in their business to come out stronger when we do come to the other side?
Well, my first basic tip is get your continuing education hours done.
Yes.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
Elizabeth's doing that.
I don't know. I don't know a
Talking to me.
single. Yeah, I don't know a single agent that doesn't wait till the absolute last minute to get their CE credits done to actually get a license renewal.
Right.
Guilty.
So if you're an active, productive agent, get your CE credits done. I mean, it does, you know, you're gonna have to sit in front of the computer for, you know, your 10, 15, 20 hours. And there's plenty of companies. I think, you know, EXP's got a deal, I think, with the CE shop, but there's plenty of folks that provide online, you know, continuing education hours that qualify you for your license renewal. Get that done so that when you come out, you know, you're going to spend 20, 30 hours doing it anyway. Why not do it when you can't actually go out there and work? The second tip is actually go and organize your darn database. Okay, so how many agents, and of course I'm speaking to me as somebody who has you know, my database is got a lot of junk in it, and so as a result, I don't communicate with my database nearly as effectively as I could. So take the time to actually go through every contact in your database. If you got a tagging system, tag them into the various categories that they fit in, so that when, you know, we come out of this, you're communicating with the right people at the right time with the right message, so that, you know, ultimately you can help them do what they want to do. I think real estate professionals get a bad rap sometimes as being too salesy, when really our job is to help people do what they already intended to do. And we just need to make sure that we're working with those folks that intend to buy, intend to sell, work on, you know, make sure we keep our database up to date so we can be the best service possible. And the third one is we're all ambassadors of our individual communities. And a lot of times we get so busy in the sales side of real estate that we aren't, we're not connected to our local communities. So you know, if there's not you know, a private Facebook group for your neighborhood, association, community, you know, a lot of people are going to want to connect. Why not take this time to sort of connect everybody and be sort of the ambassador or the mayor of that community in online, and just pull people together and say, hey, if you, hey, I've got an extra roll of toilet paper if anybody needs any, you know, whatever, you know, or you know, or I'll trade you this for some toilet paper. I don't know, but you know,
who knew toilet paper was going to be the commodity in
Right.
March of 2020?
yeah. Who knew? So when we were coming back from Australia, we and I think it was probably the third week of February, we're seeing all the toilet paper shortages that are going on all over the country. And so we actually did go on Amazon and ordered toilet paper. It literally arrived like 2 days before we got home. And then like less than a week later, you can't even find toilet paper on Amazon. It's like the next delivery date's like May 1st. Like,
oh my God. So. That is crazy.
Someone has it. We all just need to communicate, like you said, be the mayor of your area and make sure you can be the connector of toilet paper.
Right.
I
might
the winner.
Spare 2 rolls for somebody. Just letting you know, if anybody in my neighborhood is seeing this video, if you need a roll of toilet paper, I might have you covered.
That is
Riley,
awesome.
do you have enough? You have enough toilet paper, right?
We got a lot of little people. Yes, we have plenty of toilet paper, but I mean, we might not, at the end of this, I might not be known for real estate, but I'll definitely be known for toilet paper. So we're good. Yeah. My neighbors, we've told them all the same thing. We reached out to them all saying, if you need anything, the kids are coloring pictures, toilet paper, sugar, whatever. So, you know.
Oh, I love that you did that, Elizabeth. So for your art class yesterday, you had your kids drawing pictures to share with neighbors. That's so great.
We have a lot of older neighbors in our community, in our neighborhood. And if we're walking the dog or we're taking walks, it's easy for us to just, you know, drop something by for a little bit of a smile. But Yeah, that's art class before I got fired. So I think, I don't know how much more we'll have of that this week, but we at least got that one done.
You
There you
got
go.
it. So Glenn, two-part question. First, from the eyes of buyers and sellers, and then second, from the eyes of agents. What do you feel most differentiates EXP Realty in the real estate industry?
Well, I think one thing you can even just looking at this video, I mean, we're a really connected group of people who care, and not to say that others don't. So don't get me wrong, but one of our core values at EXP is service, and the other one of the other core values is community, and we think about the idea of how can we be of service to the community, and I think about that as really being what we do first. I always got this, people would say you do a lot around the community, and I did a lot. I ran community portals. I did a lot of things on sort of the internet side of things, and I said, well, I've sold real estate to pay for all of the stuff that I do for the community.
Yeah.
To some extent, that's how I sort of monetize this hobby of sort of being an ambassador for where I live. And so I think we at EXP, I think are really about community, about service, about collaboration. And the other piece is that we're a tech savvy bunch. We can't really be with EXP and not be somewhat tech savvy. And given where everything's gone, from both a buyer and a seller perspective, whether it be, doing a 360 tour of your home so that buyers can preview it remotely without actually having to come into your home, and to shorten down their list. I mean, we have a lot of tools. We cut a deal with a company called EXPI 360, so all of our agents can have access at a very low cost to doing things like 360 tours and that type of thing. We have a lot of online marketing tools. We were the first company to cut a deal with a company called Conversion, which is now KV Core, and it's one of the strongest lead generation platforms. So when you're thinking about listing your home, many of our agents, not all of them, but many of our agents have been heavy users of our KV Core platform, and some of them have their own platforms. So we have a lot of buyers in our database who are actively looking for property, and so we're able to quickly connect properties to prospective buyers from our own databases, and again, that sort of shortens, hopefully, the sales cycle. No promises, but hopefully shortens the sales cycle for you as a seller. And then the flip side of it is because we're so connected, and we do have a lot of agents in a lot of cities around the country now, and we've got great density. We can work with a buyer, and we can actually go out to our own network of agents and say, hey, I've got somebody who's interested and is looking for a home like this. What do you have coming up? So if you look at Austin, or where you're at in Orlando, or Charlotte, North Carolina, we're the largest single brokerage by a significant margin in Charlotte. In a number of cities around the country, we're the largest single brokerage. We can network with our agents in a way that small offices just have a hard time sort of doing that. Now, there's still ways for them to do it. The Association of Realtors and sort of connecting at some of that level, there's some ways to do it. But we are one collective, cohesive team of agents and brokers all across the country, and so that does give us the ability to sort of come up with ideas, potential solutions for both listing and selling that other agents might have challenges doing.
Elizabeth, you were just out doing 360s, right? You're starting that with your listings. We've just started that as well.
Yeah, I've been quarantined for 12 days, but today I finally got out of the house because I have a client that they haven't lived in their home for 6 months, 8 months. So nobody was there.
So it was safe.
I felt it was safe. I still had my gloves. I still had my hand sanitizers, but I don't know what's going to happen. They're talking about shelter in place here in Austin. And so I just wanted to be proactive so that I still have information that I can share while we're all, shut in our homes. And so I went out there today, and I've been talking to the CEO, Andrew, and we're talking about the 360, but just the tools that we have at our fingertips. It's, you know, sometimes Renee and I talk about it's drinking from a fire hose, but how cool to have all of these options to help us be successful in whatever way we want to be successful, right? I mean, I'm a very different agent than somebody else down the street, but we can still be successful by using the tools that EXP continually pours into us and pours into our businesses to help us be the most successful we can be. And Glenn, what you said about being connected as a big team across the country is so true. If I have a luxury listing, or if I have a listing here too, and I'm having a challenge, or we have to, you know, consider marketing in a certain way, I have all these luxury agents from around the country that we collaborate, and they help us make our clients showcase better, right? They help us, even though that it doesn't benefit them in the short run, but we all help each other because that's what we do. And so it's really great. I don't feel like I'm hyper local. I don't feel like I'm on a little island here in Austin. I've got 28,000 agents across the country that are family.
Yeah, well, for sure. Well, another one, you know, Express Offers is still alive, is up and running. We're in 14 states, maybe more than that now. But, you know, a lot of the we'll call them iBuyers, which was, you know, Zillow Offers, Redfin Now, Open Door, and a few of these folks that were running around the country, you know, doing basically bidding on homes, and then, you know, doing the paint and then putting them back on the market. They've quit buying homes because their balance sheet doesn't allow them to do it. They were, you know, to some extent sort of arbitraging the idea that they could buy homes, and then with the market going up, they could sell them, you know, 30, 60, 90 days later into the market. Now, all of those have basically said, we're not buying any more homes. Express Offers is still buying homes. And what I mean by that is that we actually have high net worth individuals and investors and even some institutions that are on the back end bidding for homes. Now, they're not bidding for a lot, but a lot of homes, but they're still homes that are still, you know, moving through that platform. And so that's another platform that we've got in EXP that I think is going to see a lot of upside for both the seller and then, so if they need to sell quickly, and there's a lot of people that, you know, they need to generate some cash, some things have been going on, and they can't wait for a longer sales cycle, which is going to happen in the next, you know, next 60, 90, 120, maybe 6 months to a year. They can still, you know, put their property into the Express Offers platform, potentially get a bid on their home and get it sold quickly to an investor, and not have to wait for the longer sales cycle, which is, you know, sure to happen for the next bit while we're still working our way out.
Also, not have to be concerned about others entering the home. We have Express Offers in Orlando. Elizabeth, you have it in Austin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something we've been talking to customers about, who that could be a great option for them. And by the way, no one has to come into the home right now, which is something we're all focused and concerned about. So Express Offers is a great platform that we're grateful for.
I sent a note out to my clients with all of this, just explaining to them how I'm handling their homes or their buy or their sell during this time. And I talked about the options, just like we're talking here with our affiliated partners. And I talked about 360 tours, but I also talked about Express Offers. And I had a number of people reach out to me that I don't necessarily talk to on a day-to-day basis. I stay in touch with my database pretty well, but I had a number of them reach out to me that want to specifically talk to me about our Express Offers opportunity. So that's awesome because they're already seeing the value of it as well. So I've got 4 of them I'm talking to about that to see if some of our investors, but what's great is our Express Offers is not one buyer. We have multiple buyers, right? So that sets us apart from the competition anyway. You know, some of the Zillow, Open Door, they're just one buyer. Here we have a lot of options that we can give our clients. And so it's not the low offers. It's more fair market value. It's things like that that can really help them make an educated and financial decision that makes the most sense for them. And so that's really nice to be able to take to them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, you know, the reality is that you probably still as a seller are going to, you know, to maximize the value of your home, you're going to want to put your market on, list it and have it fully marketed by, you know, an EXP agent or a real estate agent in general. But if you need to figure out something that you need to do right now, I know a lot of people are willing to take a financial hit on the value of their home just to create some cash. So they've got some liquidity so they can weather the storm a bit. They don't know where things are going. And just the fact that that's an option, should, provide at least a little bit of peace of mind. And some people may want to do something. Of course, the opportunity is both, on the seller side, they can get a potentially quick sale. It's also on the investor side, they're probably going to get a better than market deal on that home. So it's a win-win for them. And nobody can predict, where the market's going to be in 3 to 6 months right now. So, that assurance of, getting a property sold or being able to sort of take advantage of a market opportunity from a buyer's perspective, it's something that we have here and that nobody else currently has.
Yeah.
Very proud. Speaking of proud, I have a question.
What's that?
A very popular hashtag among EXP Realty agents is hashtag EXP Realty proud. Glenn, what are you most EXP Realty proud of?
I think the thing that, I do get a little bit surprised every year when we're ranked sort of Glassdoor top 50 places or top 100 places to work. We were ranked a couple years in a row in the small to mid-size top 50. And then this last year we were top 100 large companies to work for. So we jumped into the large cap company category. It's not something that I'm personally looking for. It's not like I want to be on the Glassdoor. I just, I go to work every day right here in my home. But I go to work every day really just focused, on the realty side, on the agent value proposition. So, of course, I've shifted my focus a little bit, but, Jason, Dave, Stacy, the rest of the EXP Realty team, they're focused on the agent value proposition, and it really shows. And having kind of that clear understanding of who do we serve and how do we make decisions, whether it be a staff, executive member, or other agents, I think it really creates some great alignment. And one of the reasons why we keep on sort of getting those accolades, even though obviously we built this without the bricks and mortar component, we've always thought about this as being a purpose-driven company, not a profit-driven company. Now, that doesn't mean that we're, not focused on, being sustainable and generating a reasonable amount of profit, but it's not about profit first. It's about purpose first. And I think that, comes through. And I think with that also, ultimately means that we, have a more profitable company. So, putting purpose over profit actually creates is more profitable than putting profit over purpose. And a lot of companies do right now, unfortunately, and have been, put profit over purpose. And you hear the conversations, and even a lot of people who've joined our team over the years, they came in with a profit over purpose mentality, and we had to shift them to purpose over profit. And once they get it, and it's playing the long game. When you play the long game, you're not playing for what you can put in your pocket this week or next month or next year. It's about building something that's a legacy that we can sort of pass on to others to take on and to continue to steward long after we're done doing whatever it is that we're doing. And that for me is way more important than trying to figure out how to maximize next quarter, next 6 months, next year. Though we have to figure out, how do we make sure we trim expenses so there is a next quarter, next 6 months, next year. But it's not our main driver.
Am I the only one that just got goosebumps?
No, not at all. In fact, I wanted to just, on that, this is what I'm talking about. When I first sat down with Glenn Sanford 4.5 years, almost 5.5 years ago now, this is why I say people join people, for that exact reason. Glenn, when you talk about purpose over profit, it's true to who you are. You're one of the most humble people I have ever met. You are really focused on, you're agent obsessed. You talk about that all the time, how our company is agent obsessed. And you have an agent, you're agent first and foremost. You're a real estate agent, and that's where you came from. And so you have that agent heart and that servant heart. And that's why I'm so EXP Realty proud. I'm so proud to be a part of this company. And it doesn't feel like work to me. It feels like I'm coming to family and I'm seeing family every single day. And so I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you and our leadership who stands up on our stage every Friday morning at our leadership meeting. Where we had like 600 or 700 people in there last Friday, which was crazy.
That was so awesome.
But you all stand up there on this stage and you say, we are here to serve you. What can we do to make this better for you? What can we do to help you serve your clients at a higher level? And to me, that's just a game changer. Nobody asks those questions. And I remember when you first started asking me all those at the very beginning, and I was like, no, nobody ever asks those questions. And I had to shift my mindset. So I just want to thank you for creating this company, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of the story and the journey. It's just, there's no words.
Awesome. No, well, thank you as well. I mean, it's a labor of love. It's something I enjoy, I enjoy doing because we're doing it for the right reasons. And so it makes it easy to get up in the morning to, it's now we're over 10 and a half years sort of building EXP, fastest growing, organically growing real estate company in the history of real estate. And I think it's because we all do come with a servant first mentality, and those people that are servant first are the ones that are building up their long-term legacies. Those that are me first. We recognize that we have people like that in EXP as well. They join from a me first personality, and some of them will shift their mindset, but others don't. And the ones that don't, they end up spinning out, and they end up going wherever they go. Maybe they stay in real estate, maybe they don't. Maybe they go to another company, maybe they don't. But they end up really struggling. Whereas if you do pay it forward, givers gain, all of those things, they're real tangible elements of the EXP culture.
So grateful for being with EXP. So grateful for building this community. I'm so connected and just so grateful. That's all I can say. I would have never met and had this level of relationships that I'm proud to call family now. And I agree, it makes work fun, and it is very fulfilling. So thank you so much, Glenn.
Awesome. Well, thanks as well. It's been and it's great getting on here and chatting with you guys. I know we were going to do an Icon Mastermind. I think it was in June. I assume that got put off.
Yeah, so just like many events, our Nashville Icon Mastermind is postponed, but we're actually, Tina Terranova and Elizabeth and I have an upcoming mastermind, the three of us, to get it all in the cloud. So we're going to do immediate fixes. We're going to do the Icon Mastermind in the cloud, and then we'll still be coming to Nashville, but at a date later.
Awesome.
We figure if we can bring shareholders back to the cloud, we can certainly bring the Icon Mastermind into the cloud. So. Oh
yeah, we're beefing up the infrastructure right as we speak, so we can support thousands of people in world or through some sort of streaming from world to other places. So this is gonna be a big event. That's coming up, and I don't know if we picked a formal date for it because obviously everything's been in flux the last couple of weeks. So I'm not sure if it's going to happen exactly that week, but we're going to have our shareholder event, which we've done the last number of years. Since I think 2015 was our first shareholder event in real life in Tempe, Arizona. And so really excited to kind of do it in world. A lot of love the in real life events. The in real life events have been phenomenal since we've started. We've done those since 2014, I think was our first one where we brought everybody together from around the country. And it's amazing how much family we are when we get together because we're so engaged online, on campus, in workplace, on Facebook, on Zoom, all of these different mediums to create connection. So that, ultimately when we get together, it's like, even if we've never met in person, it's like we're just continuing a conversation we've had for, a long time.
That cascades down from leadership, Glenn, and it starts with you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So.
Well, thank you so much for everything you do for us. If there is anything, and I know I speak for Renee on this as well, if there's anything I think you know this, that we can do for you, and continue your vision and continue paying it forward, just reach out, because we are happy to do anything that's helpful for you and for the company.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you very much as well. One little plug, and this is kind of for the real estate industry in general. We do have the Virbela Open Campus. If your real estate office team or what have you needs a place to remote work for a period of time, jump in the Open Campus. You can certainly have ad hoc meetings in various places on the Virbela Open Campus, but we also have a team suite. We've got a lot of real estate offices and teams and companies that have actually got team suites in the Virbela Open Campus to continue to sort of stay engaged while we're sort of dealing with this challenge where a lot of people can't get together in real life. Check it out. I think it's worth at least experimenting with, and so just a little plug for Virbela and their the Open Campus and team suites.
Awesome.
We love it. Virbela has been one of the key differentiators on how we've grown our business. So I'm glad that you shared that. Everybody check it out.
Cool. Okay.
All right, the two of you, I adore you both. Take care of each other. Take care of your family.
Okay. You too. Okay.
Bye, Glenn. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.